Hey, how you doing? It's Dan McDonald here. And the birds, they're amazing. I'm just like, wow, what's going on? I got so many different kinds of birds. It's crazy. And they'll all hang out right there. I don't know. It's weird. Don't you see them always hanging out right there? Like the white ones and these little red ones with the little red heads. Anyways, I got this recipe for you. It's amazing. The birds are amazing. They're so filled with life and vitality. Life and vitality. And so I get the million-dollar question. How do you keep the life and vitality in your beans? Or can you eat beans on a raw and living foods diet? Well, yes, you can. These are some heirloom beans related to the kidney bean family. And so what I did is I took them and I soaked them for about 48 hours. And I would change the water about every 12 hours. So I'm going to drain those out right now. Okay. These are a nice heirloom bean. Am I in the shot? Stay in the shot. Cool. So we got that. I'm going to give them a little rinse real quick. Rinse off all the residue. Now they grew like double in size. You know what I mean? Now I rinse everything off. This is the amazing thing. What I'm putting together tonight are some raw burritos. I don't know if we'll have a chance to make a video because I'm kind of crunched for time. We're making food for about 20 people. Anyways, I figured I'd share this recipe with you because you might want to be in the know on this thing. You can do this with black beans. That's going to be particularly delicious and good for you to know. I'll take these beans right here and put them in the Vitamix. I wouldn't really bother trying this without a high-speed blender like a Blendtec or a Vitamix. There might be something else out there that works, I don't know, but the Vitamix and the Blendtec are the workhorses. So what I'm going to do is take some pure water. Now those beans are nice and sprouted, okay? Not too much because I want it to be a nice, thick bean spread for the collard wrap, and I'll add some corn and some cilantro and some avocado and a few other delicious things like olives, and we'll wrap that up and make a burrito, a green burrito. I'm going to take some cloves of garlic here. I don't know what that is, 5 or 6. And then I'm going to take some cumin. That's going to make it have that nice bean flavor. Here we go. A couple tablespoons of cumin. That's going to just give it a nice flavor. Then some paprika would be next. That's going to give it some nice flavor too. That's going to give it that kind of that Mexican flavor. That's the secret to Mexican food. Mexican crackers, Mexican anything, taco meat, cumin, paprika. And of course next a little bit of sea salt to give it some flavor. You know, a teaspoon there. So I've got about, looks like I've got about 4 cups of beans in there. You know what I mean? So, and you only want to make a half batch. You'll tear up your blender. Do it, and I'm going to do 2 batches here. You see what I mean? You don't want to fill it up with beans and work your blender to death. You'll blow it up. You know what I mean? So be real gentle with your blender. I mean, you can put them to work, but half batches are better for the yogurts and the bean spreads and stuff like that. Now I'm going to put in some Pyridine probiotics because that's going to actually culturize it. And then once I set this on the counter, we're going to be having dinner in a few hours. And so I want to get a couple hours of culturization in here, okay? And that's that. So the next thing I'm going to do is just blend it. We'll see what happens. So we're going to need a little bit more water. I don't want to go too much. Just go real slow with this process, you know, so you don't get it too thin. You don't want to have like a, you know, bean spread that's like watery. So you got to play with the blender here a little bit. We'll go real slow. We'll pop out the air bubbles and we'll hit it again on low and then just rip it. Now see, it's nice and thick and I want to leave it like that. It should be just nice and thick so we can spread it. So be really careful that you don't get it too thin. You'll have to bring some more beans in to thicken it up. So just go in stages. I did it pretty good on 2 stages. Sometimes you got to go 3 or 4. Bump it up a little bit. It looks like we just got it though, but I want to make sure it's nice and smooth and creamy. You don't want any bean chunks in there, and you want to make sure that these proteins all get nice and culturized so the digestion is really high with the probiotics. There you go. That's how you make a cultured bean dip, and it's actually really perfect. Oh my goodness, that's going to be really delicious. So I'm going to put that in a jar on the counter for a little while. I'll make a nice big batch of that here, and then I'll let it culturize for a while. We'll bust out the collard greens, all the other ingredients, wrap it up and make burritos. Delicious. There we go. See how thick it is? Cool, cool. So I won't take up too much of your time. I'll put that in there. I'm going to let that culturize. The way to really keep the flatulence down from the beans, the probiotics, to pre-digest it for a couple hours. Otherwise, when you cook beans, or when you if you try to eat beans without, just, you know, they're harder to digest, but people really like them. So if you are going to eat beans, keep them raw, keep them real, because the proteins are all intact, the amino acids here. If you cook them, you really do destroy the nutritional value, and these types of proteins can be really, really good for growing people, people that feel like they need more protein, athletes, bodybuilders, you know, because that's why we do the raw living foods. If I cook these proteins and put them on the heat, they're gonna change, they're gonna be altered, and they're gonna lose their, cooked proteins lose their ability to be absorbed by the cells properly and utilized properly. That's why raw proteins, raw carbs, raw fats, all the way down the line. That's why I promote a raw living foods diet, because heat chemically alters the nature of the food, and when you do that, your body doesn't recognize it anymore, okay? This is a minimal processing to make room for the transitioning on the raw living foods. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of the Life Regenerator Show. Black beans are good, pinto beans are good. These are an heirloom kidney type bean. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. Very interesting looking beans there. So peace be with you. Thanks a lot. I'm out.